And she said, you know, we got it wrong. And I was taken aback to hear her say that. And she talked about the fact that only when men and women, when the pendulum swings to the middle and men and women are able to be equal nurturers, will we have true equality. And I was blown away at hearing those words from her, but they resonated incredibly profoundly. And so I think there is an opportunity for us definitely to grow. And hopefully, one of the things that I believe is significant about having now a first woman serving in the presidency of our organization in a couple of years is that it gives me an incredible opportunity to use my voice along with your voices, to amplify our voices, and to hopefully showcase by our actions, by our leadership, by our example, that other women can say, if she can do that, so can I. And hopefully be an inspiration to young women and young men to understand that we represent something that is that kaleidoscope, that tapestry of people who represent the best and the brightest in our communities around the world. And we have this wonderful vehicle called Rotary to be able to do it. Now, Tessie mentioned in the beginning a little bit of the history of how women have been able to join our organization. And the year 1989, when the Council on Legislation, as the governor mentioned, Governor Thomas, that was when our own internal legislation permitted women to join. But it was actually 2 years earlier that it took a Supreme Court ruling in the United States of America for women to actually be permitted to join. Can you believe that? If you've never heard the story before, that it took a Supreme Court ruling for us to join. It's absolutely remarkable. And what happened, the lead up to that, the very quaint and incredibly powerful story, is that there was a Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of Duarte in California. And in the late 70s, they had some very progressive thinkers. Some of the men, because it was a men's only club, decided that they wanted women to be in their club. And so they invited some women to join. And when they put their names forward to Rotary International to put their names into the record book, into membership, they only put their first initial and then their last name, so that they had no idea that it was a woman. And so a few years later, there was a Rotary dignitary that came to visit and discovered what it was that they were doing, and went back, and Rotary actually pulled the charter of that club. And they said, well, you know what? We're still going to function as a club. And so they took their logo and they put a big X through it, and they called themselves the X-Rotary Club of Duarte, California. And they continue to do good work in their community and around the world. And the Supreme Court challenge was launched. And at the time of that Supreme Court ruling in 1987, they had selected a woman to be president of their Rotary Club, Dr. Sylvia Whitlock, the very first female president of Rotary International. And so she was in the queue in an unofficial way, in an unofficial club. But in 1987, when the Supreme Court ruling came down and women were permitted to join, she was in line to become president and became president. That was a very significant day. If you've ever heard her speak about it, she was driving into work and showed up as a high school principal, and there was media everywhere there to hear the story of the little mouse that roared. And she has been roaring ever since that day and has paved the way for so many of us. I count her as an incredibly dear friend. And we stand on the shoulders of these women who have come before us, who have opened the doors, who have paved the way for us to be able to stand here today, united in a call with hundreds and hundreds of women and men across our Rotary world, knowing that we have the capability to do so much in service, to improve and increase our own skill development, our leadership opportunities. You know, Kamala Harris, who now is the Vice President-elect of the U.S., in her acceptance speech said, "I may be the first, but I won't be the last." And I think those are words that echo around the world, and they certainly are applicable here. Women presidents, women district governors, now the president of our organization in a couple of years. Yes, we may sometimes be the first, but I know for certain that we will not be the last. You know, that's because we have an opportunity to literally nurture and change the face of our planet. I know that the topic is overcoming challenges, and so many of us have had to overcome challenges of many kinds. And I know that we're going to hear incredible stories that are from a diverse perspective of challenges today. And this does our heart good, as I said in the beginning, to be able to hear these stories, to have them resonate within us, to give us inspiration and hope. Hope is something right now that all of us are clinging and hanging on to as we start to see vaccines unveiled in front of us, understanding that this Zoom pandemic, as was referenced earlier, the Zoom fatigue, is maybe going to be something that we start to be able to get back into in-person meetings. And I believe that that will be an important day, because part of what makes us such a strong collective is our opportunity to connect through service and fellowship and friendship in person. But I sure hope that as we go forward, we don't lose this ability to connect through virtual platforms. Think of the opportunity it's provided to have your special guests and all of your attendees join together to be able to celebrate women's empowerment tonight. This wouldn't be possible at an in-person meeting. I wouldn't be able to attend. I'm sitting here in Canada, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, but yet I feel like I'm a very meaningful part of this dialogue and this discussion. And so it is an important time for us to turn up the volume on this conversation. Not because we have to be men or women, because being pro-woman is not anti-man. It's about understanding the unique gifts that each of us bring to the table and expanding our reach, increasing our impact, enhancing our participant engagement, and yes, increasing our ability to adapt. The 4 key strategic priorities of our action plan to go forward as an organization, to be brighter, bigger, better, and bolder than ever. And so thank you. Thank you sincerely for allowing me to spend time with you and to reflect upon a few things that I hope will lead us in conversation into the future. I will have many more things to say in the years to come about how we continue to grow and develop women leaders in our organization. But tonight, I say thank you. I thank you for being on this call. Thank you for being leaders. And thank you for understanding that service is something that is a true gift, not only to our communities and to our world, but most importantly, to ourselves. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Our heartfelt thanks to you, RIPN, Rotarian Jennifer Jones, for coming to our district and inspiring our Rotarians. Thank you very much. On behalf of my wife, Omana, and all the Rotarians from District 3211.
Thank you, Rotarian Jennifer Jones. Thank you, DG. Rotarian Albert Alex from the Rotary Club of Trivandrum Suburban has compiled a beautiful introduction of Srimati Karthiyani Amma. Over to you, Rotarian Albert.
ആലപ്പുഴ ജില്ലയിലെ ചേപ്പാട് പഞ്ചായത്ത് മുട്ടം ഗ്രാമം ഇന്ന് ലോക പ്രശസ്തമാണ്. അതിന് കാരണമാകട്ടെ പല്ലുപോയ മോണ കാട്ടി മനോഹരമായി ചിരിക്കുന്ന നല്ല സ്ഫുടതയോടെ മലയാള ഭാഷ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു മുത്തശ്ശിയാണ്. പേര് കാർത്തിയാനി അമ്മ. 1922 ജനിച്ചത് കാരണം കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ വയസ്സ് 98. എന്താണ് മുത്തശ്ശിക്ക് ഇത്രയധികം പ്രാധാന്യവും പ്രശസ്തിയും വന്നത് എന്നാണല്ലേ. ഈ അമ്മയാണ് തന്റെ 96-ാം വയസ്സിൽ തന്റെ കൂടെ പരീക്ഷ എഴുതിയ 40,000-ൽ പരം മുതിർന്ന പഠിതാക്കളെ പിന്തള്ളി 98% മാർക്ക് വാങ്ങി കേരള സാക്ഷരതാ മിഷന്റെ 4ാം ക്ലാസ് വിജയിച്ചത്. അതിന് നിമിത്തമായതാകട്ടെ സതി എന്ന സാക്ഷരതാ പ്രവർത്തക. ഒരിക്കൽ അമ്മയുടെ വീടിന് മുന്നിലൂടെ പോയപ്പോൾ ചുമ്മാ ചോദിച്ചതേ ഉള്ളൂ, ഇവിടെ ആരെങ്കിലും പഠിപ്പില്ലാത്തവരായി ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന്. ഉടൻ തന്നെ അമ്മയുടെ മറുപടി വന്നു, എല്ലാവരും പഠിച്ചവരും പഠിക്കുന്നവരും, പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ മാത്രം പഠിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. വീട്ടിലെ പ്രാരാബ്ധം മൂലം സ്കൂളിൽ പോകാൻ സാധിച്ചില്ല. വിവാഹം കഴിഞ്ഞ കുട്ടികളും കൊച്ചുമക്കളും ഒക്കെ ആയപ്പോൾ പിന്നെ തീരെ സമയമില്ലാതായി. അതിന് മറ്റൊരു കാരണം കൂടിയുണ്ട്. വെളുപ്പിന് 3 മണിക്ക് അമ്പലങ്ങളിലെ അടിച്ചുവാരലും മറ്റും കഴിഞ്ഞ് വീട്ടിൽ തിരികെ എത്തുന്നത് രാത്രി 8 മണിക്ക്. പിന്നെ എങ്ങനെ പഠിക്കും? എന്നാൽ സതി ടീച്ചർ കണ്ടെത്തിയ കാർത്തികേയനി അമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ മക്കളും കൊച്ചുമക്കളും ഒക്കെ പുസ്തകവുമായി പഠിക്കാനിരിക്കുന്ന കാണുമ്പോൾ നഷ്ടബോധവും അതിലുപരി ഈ പ്രായത്തിലും അറിവ് നേടണം എന്ന അദമ്യമായ ആഗ്രഹവും. അങ്ങനെ സതി ടീച്ചർ ഒരു നിയോഗം പോലെ ഏറ്റെടുത്ത ആ ദൗത്യത്തിന് ആ അമ്മയുടെ നിശ്ചയദാർഢ്യം ചെറുതൊന്നുമല്ല പിന്തുണ നൽകിയത്. വെളുപ്പിന് 4 മണിക്ക് എഴുന്നേറ്റ് തലേന്ന് ടീച്ചർ പഠിപ്പിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങൾ പല ആവർത്തി പഠിച്ച് ഹൃദയസ്ഥമാക്കും. ടീച്ചറെ ദൂരെ കാണുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ പഠനോപകരണങ്ങൾ എടുക്കാനായി അകത്തേക്ക് കൂനിക്കൂടി പായുന്ന ആ അമ്മയെ കാണുമ്പോൾ സതി ടീച്ചർക്ക് അതിലേറെ ആവേശം. അങ്ങനെ 8 മാസക്കാലത്തെ പരിശ്രമമാണ് വിജയം കണ്ടത്. വായന, എഴുത്ത്, അടിസ്ഥാന ഗണിതം എന്നീ 3 വിഷയങ്ങളിലായിരുന്നു പരീക്ഷ. 85 വയസ്സുകാരനായ ബന്ധു കൂടിയായ വയോവൃദ്ധൻ തന്റെ കടലാസ് നോക്കി കോപ്പി അടിക്കുന്നതൊന്നും അമ്മയ്ക്കൊരു പ്രശ്നമേ ആയില്ല. ഫലം വന്നപ്പോൾ 98% മാർക്ക് വാങ്ങി ഒന്നാമതെത്തിയ കാർത്തികേയനി അമ്മയുടെ 7 അയൽവക്കത്തെത്തിയില്ല ആ കോപ്പിയടിക്കാരൻ. അതവിടെ നിന്നില്ല. മുഖ്യമന്ത്രി ശ്രീ പിണറായി വിജയനാണ് സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് നൽകിയത്. മുത്തശ്ശിയുടെ ഇനിയുള്ള ആഗ്രഹം ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ കേട്ട ഉത്തരം അദ്ദേഹത്തിൽ അത്ഭുതം പടർത്തിയ ചിരിയാണ് സമ്മാനിച്ചത്. തനിക്ക് 10ാം ക്ലാസ്സിനൊപ്പം കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറും പഠിക്കണം എന്നായിരുന്നു അമ്മയുടെ ആവശ്യം. സംസ്ഥാന വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ മന്ത്രി തന്നെ അമ്മയുടെ വീട്ടിലെത്തി കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ സമ്മാനിച്ചു. അതിലൂടെ തന്റെ ശേഷിയുള്ള വിരലുകൾ കൊണ്ട് സാങ്കേതിക വിദ്യാഭ്യാസം നേടുകയാണ് അമ്മ ഇപ്പോൾ. കേരളത്തിൽ നടന്ന ഈ മഹാത്ഭുതം ദേശീയ പത്രങ്ങളിലൂടെ അറിഞ്ഞ നമ്മുടെ പ്രധാനമന്ത്രി നരേന്ദ്രമോദി ഇന്ദ്രപ്രസ്ഥത്തിലേക്ക് വിളിച്ചു വരുത്തി നാരീശക്തി അവാർഡ് കൊടുപ്പിച്ചു. കൊടുത്തതാകട്ടെ നമ്മുടെ പ്രഥമ പൗരൻ ശ്രീ രാംനാഥ് കോവിന്ദും. അങ്ങനെ ആ പ്രായത്തിൽ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഒരു ആകാശയാത്രയും തരപ്പെട്ടു. തീർന്നില്ല, 53 രാജ്യങ്ങൾ ഉൾപ്പെടുന്ന കോമൺവെൽത്തിന്റെ ലേണിംഗ് ഗുഡ്വിൽ അംബാസഡർ കൂടിയാണ് 98 വയസ്സുള്ള നമ്മുടെ പ്രിയങ്കരിയായ സുന്ദരി വല്യമ്മ. 100ാം വയസ്സിൽ 10ാം ക്ലാസ്സും എഴുതിയെടുക്കണം എന്ന വാശിയിൽ പുസ്തകത്താളുകളിൽ കണ്ണുനട്ട് പഠനം തുടരുകയാണ് അമ്മ ഇപ്പോൾ. 70 എന്നത് തന്നെ ഒരു ബാലികേറാ മലയായി നമ്മുടെ പലരുടെയും മുന്നിൽ നിൽക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയുള്ള അപൂർവ പ്രതിഭകളെ കണ്ട് 98ഉം 100ഉം ഒക്കെ ആസ്വദിക്കാനേ കഴിയും. എല്ലാ ദിവസവും പുതിയതെന്തെങ്കിലും പഠിക്കുന്ന കാർത്തികേയനിയമ്മ എന്ന നമ്മുടെ ഈ സ്വന്തം അമ്മയ്ക്ക് പ്രത്യാശയുടെ പുതുനാളങ്ങൾ ആശംസിക്കാനല്ലേ നമുക്ക് കഴിയും. ആൽബർട്ട് ഐൻസ്റ്റീന്റെ കണ്ടുപിടുത്തങ്ങളെ പറ്റി പഠിച്ചിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിലും അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഒരു ആപ്തവാക്യമാണ് അമ്മയെ നയിക്കുന്നത് എന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. The important thing is never stop questioning.
ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ അതിഥി ശ്രീമതി കാർത്തികേയനി അമ്മയാണ്. നമുക്കെല്ലാം അറിയാം, രാഷ്ട്രപതിയിൽ നിന്ന് നാരീശക്തി പുരസ്കാര ജേതാവായ ശ്രീമതി കാർത്തികേയനി അമ്മയെ റോട്ടറി ഇന്റർനാഷണലിന്റെ വിമൻ എംപവർമെന്റ് സെമിനാറിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. നമസ്കാരം അമ്മ.
നമസ്കാരം.
ഞങ്ങൾ റോട്ടറി ഇന്റർനാഷണലിന്റെ പ്രവർത്തകരാണ്, അംഗങ്ങളാണ്. അമ്മയുടെ കുറച്ച് വിശേഷങ്ങൾ ചോദിച്ചറിയുന്നതിനും അത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ കൂട്ടുകാരും ഞങ്ങളുടെ സഹപ്രവർത്തകരുമായിട്ട് പങ്കുവയ്ക്കുന്നതിനുമായിട്ട് കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ അമ്മയോട് ചോദിച്ചറിയാനായിട്ടാണ് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. അമ്മ തയ്യാറാണല്ലോ? ചോദിച്ചു. ആദ്യമായിട്ട് അമ്മയുടെ കുടുംബ പശ്ചാത്തലത്തിനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയാൻ. അമ്മ ഈ നാട്ടുകാർ തന്നെയാണോ?
ഈ നാട്ടിലല്ലേ ഉള്ളത്?
ഈ നാട്ടിൽ തന്നെ. അമ്മയുടെ വീട്ടിൽ ആരൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്?
എന്റെ വീട്ടില് ഇപ്പോഴേ 2 പെൺപിള്ളേരെ ഉള്ളൂ എനിക്ക്.
2 മക്കള്.
പിന്നെ കൊച്ചുമക്കളാ 2, 3 പേരുള്ളത്. അവിടെ ഭർത്താവും ഉണ്ട്.
ഭർത്താവ്, അമ്മയുടെ ഭർത്താവ്?
എന്റെ ഭർത്താവ് മരിച്ചിട്ട് 50 വർഷമായി.
പിന്നെ അമ്മയുടെ പഠനകാലത്തെ കുറിച്ച് നേരത്തെ പഠിക്കാൻ സാധിച്ച?
നേരത്തെ പഠിക്കാന് ഉള്ള സാഹചര്യം എന്റെ അച്ഛന് 6 പെൺപിള്ളേരായിരുന്നു. ഈ 6നെയും കൂടെ പഠിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള പ്രാപ്തി എന്റെ അച്ഛനില്ലായിരുന്നു. എന്റെ അച്ഛൻ കൂലിപ്പണിക്കാരനായിരുന്നു. കൂലിക്ക് പോയ അന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് 4 ഏക്കറ കിട്ടുന്നത്, ഒരു കാര്യവുമായ കിട്ടുന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ടൊന്നും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇത്രയും പേർക്ക് ചെലവും കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഉടുക്കാനും കെട്ടാനും എല്ലാത്തിനും കൂടെ ഇല്ലല്ലോ. അതുകൊണ്ട് അച്ഛൻ പറഞ്ഞാലും പഠിക്കണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
പിന്നെ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഇപ്പൊ പഠിക്കാനുണ്ടായ സാഹചര്യം എന്താണ്?
ഇപ്പൊ പഠിക്കാനുണ്ടായത്, ഞാൻ ഇതുപോലൊക്കെ തിണ്ണയ്ക്ക് അവിടെ ഇരിക്കുമ്പോഴ് ഈ ചീത്ത കയ്യില് തെക്കോട്ട് പോയിട്ട് തിരിച്ചു വന്ന് എൻ്റെ അടുക്ക ചോദിച്ചു, അങ്ങനെ ഇവിടെ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളവർ വല്ലവരും ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ എല്ലാവരും പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഞാനേ ഉള്ളു പഠിക്കാത്തത്. എന്നാലും ചോദിച്ചു, അമ്മ എന്താ പറയുന്നു, പഠിക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ ഇല്ലയോ? ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, എനിക്ക് താല്പര്യമുണ്ട് പഠിക്കാൻ, എനിക്ക് സന്തോഷമാണ് പഠിക്കുന്നതിൽ. അതിൻ്റെ 3ാമത്തെ ദിവസം മുതൽ ടീച്ചർ വന്ന് എന്നെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
അമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഇപ്പൊ ചെറിയ പ്രായം മുതലേ പഠിക്കണം എന്ന് ആഗ്രഹം
ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അന്നത്തെ കാലത്ത് ഒക്കത്തില്ലായിരുന്നു.
ഈ പ്രായത്തിൽ വന്ന് ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് സന്തോഷമായിരുന്നു.
പ്രായത്തിൽ ചോദിച്ചപ്പോ എനിക്ക് വളരെ സന്തോഷമായിരുന്നു.
അമ്മ ചെറിയ പ്രായത്തിൽ മുതലേ ജോലി ചെയ്യും.
ചെറിയ പ്രായത്തില് മഠത്തിലും അമ്പലങ്ങളിലും ഒക്കെ തൂക്കുകയും മാരുകയും അവരോട് പിന്നെ വെളിക്ക് നിൽക്കുന്നവരോട് സഹായിച്ച് തരികയൊക്കെ ചെയ്തു. 95 വയസ്സ് വരെ ഞാൻ അമ്പലങ്ങളിൽ തൂക്കുമായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ പോകാൻ ഭാവിച്ചാൽ പിള്ളേർ വിടത്തില്ല, പോകണ്ടെന്ന് പറയും. റോഡിൽ പോയി വല്ല വണ്ടി ഇടിച്ച് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വയ്യ, അതുകൊണ്ട് പോകണ്ടെന്നും പറഞ്ഞ് പോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ചെയ്ത് ഈ ടീച്ചർ വരെ എന്നെ വഴക്ക് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ പൊത്താൻ ഭാര്യ പുറത്തിങ്ങനെ വെച്ചുണ്ട് വരുമ്പോഴും ടീച്ചർ വരെ 2-3 മണിയാകുമ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നിന്നിച്ച് പോയാൽ 8 മണിയാവും വീട്ടിൽ വരുമ്പോഴും. അതുവരെ ജോലിയാ.
ഈ ടീച്ചർ ഇങ്ങനെ വന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു വന്നാണ് അമ്മയ്ക്ക് വീണ്ടും പഠിക്കാനുള്ള
സാഹചര്യം വന്നത്.
അപ്പൊ
അന്ന് മുതൽ എനിക്ക് സന്തോഷം, പഠിക്കണമെന്നുള്ള മനസ്സിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ അങ്ങ് വിചാരം.
അങ്ങനെ ചോദിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് അമ്മയ്ക്ക് വീണ്ടും പഠിക്കാൻ ഒരു ആഗ്രഹം ഉണ്ടായി, ഒരു സാധ്യത കിട്ടി, അമ്മ പഠിച്ചു. പഠിപ്പിച്ചു തുടങ്ങിയത് ടീച്ചറാണോ? അമ്മ ഈ ടീച്ചറാണോ?
എനിക്ക് ആദ്യമായിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു തരുന്നു.
അമ്മ പഠിപ്പിച്ച ടീച്ചറിന്റെ പേരെന്തുവാ?
സതി. അതെ, ഞാൻ പേര് വിളിക്കത്തില്ല,
ടീച്ചറിനെ വിളിക്കത്തുള്ളൂ. അതാ പറയാത്തത്.
ഇതുവരെ ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെ വിളിച്ചിട്ടില്ല.
അമ്മ ഇപ്പം ഏത് പരീക്ഷ പാസ്സായത്? 4ാം ക്ലാസ്സിൽ. അത് ജയിച്ചു എന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടായ സംഭവങ്ങൾ അമ്മ ഒന്ന് ഓർത്ത് പറയാമോ? അമ്മ ഇതുപോലെ 4ാം ക്ലാസ് ജയിച്ചു എന്നറിഞ്ഞപ്പം
അവിടെ നാട്ടുകാർക്കൊക്കെ നമ്മളെ വലിയൊരു പുസ്തകത്തിലായിരുന്നു. വയസ്സെന്ന കാലത്ത് ഇത്രയായല്ലോ. നമ്മളൊന്നും ആരോടും നമ്മളൊന്നും വകവെക്കാൻ പോയില്ല, ഒന്നും ചോദിക്കാനും പോയില്ല. അതെന്നാലും പറഞ്ഞോട്ടെ.
അതെ, നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചു.
നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചു.
അതെ. ഇനി അമ്മയ്ക്ക് കേന്ദ്ര സർക്കാരിന്റെ അവാർഡ് കിട്ടില്ല, നാരി ശക്തി പുരസ്കാരം അവാർഡ് കിട്ടുമെന്നൊന്നും അന്ന് അവർ നമ്മൾ വിചാരിച്ചില്ല. പിന്നെ അത് കിട്ടി. അത് കിട്ടിയപ്പോ എന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞപ്പോ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് എന്താ തോന്നിയത്?
എനിക്ക് സന്തോഷമാണ് തോന്നിയത്. ഇത്രയും എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയല്ലോ. എനിക്ക് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ അടുക്ക വരെ പോയി അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ഒന്ന് കൈയെടുത്തല്ലോ എന്ന് സന്തോഷം. എനിക്ക് വേറെ ഒന്നും കിട്ടിയില്ലേലും വേണ്ടിയില്ലെന്ന്.
അമ്മയ്ക്ക് അവാർഡ് മേടിക്കാൻ ഡൽഹിയിലൊക്കെ പോയല്ലോ,
പോയി.
അപ്പൊ ആ ഡൽഹി യാത്രയെ കുറിച്ചൊന്ന് പറയാമോ?
ഡൽഹി യാത്ര പിന്നെ വിമാനത്തെ കയറിയപ്പം ഇവരൊക്കെ എന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞു ഉരുണ്ട് വീഴല്ലേ എന്ന്. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു ഞാൻ വീഴത്തില്ല, നിങ്ങൾ വീഴാതെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒറ്റ ഇരിപ്പിരുന്നു. ഇരുന്ന് സുഖമായിട്ട് പോയി അദ്ദേഹത്തിനെ കണ്ട അവാർഡ് വാങ്ങിച്ചു. സന്തോഷമായിട്ട് 4 ദിവസം അവിടെ കഴിഞ്ഞു.
പ്രധാനമന്ത്രിയെയും രാഷ്ട്രപതിയെയും കണ്ടപ്പോ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് എന്തോ
സന്തോഷമാണ് തോന്നിയത്. എനിക്ക് പിന്നെ ഉറക്കത്തിൽ പോലും അവരെ കാണാൻ നിൽക്കുമെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചു. കണ്ടപ്പോ
എല്ലാം ഈ പഠിച്ചത് കൊണ്ട് കിട്ടിയ
അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കിട്ടത്തില്ല.
ഇനി വരും തലമുറയുടെ അമ്മയുടെ മക്കളും കൊച്ചുമക്കളൊക്കെ ഇപ്പൊ പഠിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, അവരോട് അമ്മയ്ക്ക് പറയാനുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ എന്താണെന്ന് പറയാം.
അവരോട് പറയാനുള്ളത് എന്താന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാല്, എന്നെ പോലൊക്കെ നിങ്ങളും പഠിക്കണം. പഠിച്ച് അവാർഡ് വാങ്ങിക്കണം. വാങ്ങിച്ചെങ്കിലേ നമ്മുടെ കുടുംബത്തിന് സന്തോഷമാകത്തുള്ളൂ. അപ്പോഴേ നാട്ടുകാര് പറയത്തുള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് അവിടെ ഇന്നതുപോലൊക്കെ ആ കൊച്ചുങ്ങളും പഠിച്ച അമ്മൂമ്മയും പഠിച്ച അവർക്ക് ഇത്രയും ഭാഗ്യമായല്ലോ, നിങ്ങളും അതുപോലൊക്കെ പഠിക്കണമെന്ന് മറ്റുള്ളവര് പറയും.
പണ്ട് അമ്മയുടെ ചെറിയ പ്രായത്തിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രീതിയും ഇപ്പൊ അമ്മ പഠിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ രീതിയും തമ്മിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയാനുണ്ടോ അതിനെപ്പറ്റി?
വയസ്സൊന്നും നോക്കണ്ട, നമുക്ക് എത്ര വേണേലും പഠിക്കാം. നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സുണ്ടോ പഠിക്കാൻ, അപ്പൊ പഠിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യാം.
അതെ. ഇപ്പോഴാരാ അമ്മയെ പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്?
ഇപ്പൊ എന്നെ
ടീച്ചർ തന്നെയാണ് ഇപ്പോഴും പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്.
അതെ, അറിയാൻ വയ്യാത്തതൊക്കെ ടീച്ചർ വന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
പണ്ട് അമ്മയുടെ ആ കാലത്തും അത് കഴിഞ്ഞും ഒക്കെ അന്ന് പഠിക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്തവരോട് അമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഇപ്പൊ എന്തുവാ പറയാനുള്ളത്?
ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ പഠിച്ച പോലൊക്കെ നിങ്ങളും പഠിക്കണമെന്നാ പറയുന്നത്.
ഇപ്പൊ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഉപകാരം ചെയ്തു
എന്റെ വല്ല ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഇപ്പൊ ഉപകാരം ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മള് അതിന് ധിക്കരിക്കരുത്, നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കണം.
അതാണ് പറയാനുള്ളത്. കൊച്ചുമക്കളോട് എല്ലാം ഇതേ ഉള്ളൂ, എല്ലാരും നല്ലപോലെ പഠിക്കണം.
വലിയവരോടെ എല്ലാം ഇതാ പറയുന്നത്. ഇത്തലമുറ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെ TV കാണരുത്, പിന്നെ വേറെ ഒന്നിനും പോകരുത്, മൊബൈൽ കാണരുത്, ഇതൊന്നും ചെയ്യരുത്. നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കാനുള്ള കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കണം. എന്നെ പോലൊക്കെ പഠിച്ചെങ്കിലേ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കുഞ്ഞയെ കിട്ടത്തുള്ളൂ.
നമസ്കാരം, ഞാനാണ് കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മയുടെ ടീച്ചർ. എൻ്റെ പേര് സതി എന്നാണ്. 1990 മുതൽ ഞാൻ ഈ സാക്ഷരതാ രംഗത്ത് പ്രവർത്തിച്ചു വരുന്നു. അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ രാമപുരം ഹയർ സെക്കൻഡറി സ്കൂളിലെ ഹയർ സെക്കൻഡറി തുല്യതാ കോർഡിനേറ്ററുമാണ്. കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മയെ ഞാൻ കണ്ടെത്തുന്നത് ഈ 2017 നമ്മളുടെ പുതിയ ഡയറക്ടർ ചാർജ് എടുത്തപ്പോൾ കേരളം സമ്പൂർണ്ണ സാക്ഷരത ആയി എങ്കിൽ പോലും വീണ്ടും നിരക്ഷരരുണ്ടെന്ന് കണ്ടെത്തിയതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി 2017 നമുക്കൊരു പുതിയ പദ്ധതിക്ക് രൂപം കൊണ്ട് അക്ഷരലക്ഷം. അതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി ചേപ്പാട് ഗ്രാമപഞ്ചായത്തിൽ 4-ാം വാർഡ് സർവേ ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഭാഗ്യം എനിക്കാണ് ലഭിച്ചത്. അങ്ങനെ നിരക്ഷരരെ കണ്ടെത്തുന്ന സർവേക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഞാൻ വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഈ കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മയുടെ വീട് സന്ദർശിക്കുകയും കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മ വീടിൻ്റെ പടിയിൽ ഇരിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മയോട് ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു, പിന്നെ അമ്മ ഇവിടെ പഠിക്കാത്തവരായി ആരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ എന്ന്. പക്ഷേ കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മയെ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചുകൊണ്ടല്ല ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചത്, മറ്റാരെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ എന്നുള്ള ലക്ഷ്യത്തോടു കൂടി ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ കാർത്തിയാനിയമ്മ എന്നോട് പറയുന്നത്, മോളെ ഇവിടെ എല്ലാവരും പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഞാൻ മാത്രമേ പഠിക്കാത്തതായിട്ടുള്ളൂ. അന്നേരം ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചത് എന്താ? ഞാൻ ചിരിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ചോദിച്ചു, അമ്മയ്ക്ക് എത്ര വയസ്സുണ്ട് എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് 96 വയസ്സുണ്ടെന്ന്. ഞാനൊരു തമാശയായിട്ടാണ് എടുത്തത്, അമ്മ പഠിച്ചിട്ടില്ല, അപ്പം ഈ 96-ാം വയസ്സിൽ ഇനി അമ്മ പഠിക്കുമെന്നൊരു ഉദ്ദേശം എനിക്കില്ല. അപ്പം ഞാൻ വീണ്ടും ചോദിച്ചു, അമ്മയ്ക്ക് പഠിക്കണമെന്ന് ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ടോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞു, മോളെ എനിക്ക് ഓരോരോ കുട്ടികൾ പുസ്തകം വായിക്കുന്നതും മറ്റുള്ളവർ പത്രം വായിക്കുന്നതും കാണുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് ചെറുപ്പകാലം മുതലേ വായിക്കണമെന്ന് വളരെ ആഗ്രഹമുണ്ട്. അന്നേരം ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു, അങ്ങനെ ആഗ്രഹം ഉണ്ട്, ഞാൻ പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ അമ്മ തയ്യാറാണോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ എന്നോട് ഇങ്ങനെയാണ് കൈ കാണിച്ചത്, ഓക്കെ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ്. ഞാനും ഓക്കെ അടിച്ചു പോയി. അമ്മയെ അവിടെ തന്നെ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്തു. പിന്നെ സംസ്ഥാന സാക്ഷരതാ മിഷന് അമ്മയുടെ പേര് നൽകി. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ വന്നപ്പോൾ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ പ്രായമുള്ള ഒരു പഠിതാവ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പിന്നെ സംസ്ഥാന സാക്ഷരതാ മിഷനിൽ തന്നെ ചിറ്റൂർ പടിയിട്ടതിൽ കാർത്തിയായനി അമ്മയാണ്. അതിനുശേഷം ഞാൻ അമ്മയെ ദിവസവും വന്ന് പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങി. ഓരോ ദിവസവും ഞാൻ ഹോംവർക്ക് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് പോകുമ്പോൾ കാർത്തിയായനി അമ്മ അത് രാത്രിയിലെ പിന്നെ രാത്രി കുട്ടികൾ TV കാണുന്ന സമയത്ത് അമ്മൂമ്മ ഇരുന്ന് പഠിക്കുകയും 4 മണി 3 മണിയൊക്കെ ആകുമ്പോൾ എണീച്ചിരുന്ന് അപ്പോൾ ഇവര് വീട്ടുകാർ തന്നെ ഭയന്ന് എന്താണ് ഈ അനങ്ങുന്നത് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ അമ്മൂമ്മ ഇരുന്ന് കുത്തിയിരുന്ന് എഴുതി പഠിക്കുന്നതാണ്. അങ്ങനെ അമ്മ അത് വളരെയേറെ റിസ്ക് എടുത്ത് പഠിക്കണമെന്നുള്ള അമ്മയുടെ ആഗ്രഹം സഫലമാക്കാനുള്ള അമ്മയുടെ തീവ്ര യജ്ഞമാണ് അമ്മ ഇന്ന് ഈ നിലയിൽ എത്തിച്ചത്. 40,000 പഠിതാക്കളെ പിന്തള്ളിക്കൊണ്ടാണ് അമ്മൂമ്മ സംസ്ഥാനത്ത് 1ാം റാങ്ക് കരസ്ഥമാക്കിയത്. ഈ 1ാം റാങ്കിനോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ 96 വയസ്സും ഉണ്ടെന്നുള്ളതാണ് അതിന് ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു പ്രത്യേകത. ഇന്ന് അമ്മൂമ്മ എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു പ്രചോദനമാണ്, പഠിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്കൊരു പ്രചോദനമാണ്. അമ്മൂമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഈ സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് തന്നെ ലഭിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ കേരള മുഖ്യമന്ത്രിയാണ്. തിരുവനന്തപുരത്ത് വെച്ചാണ് ഇതിന്റെ സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. അവിടെ ചെന്ന് സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് വാങ്ങിയ സമയത്ത് മുഖ്യമന്ത്രി അമ്മൂമ്മയോട് ചോദിച്ചു, അമ്മൂമ്മയ്ക്ക് എന്താണ് ഈ ആഗ്രഹം എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാൽ പറഞ്ഞ് എനിക്ക് കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ പഠിച്ചാൽ കൊള്ളാമെന്നൊരാഗ്രഹം ഉണ്ടെന്ന്. അപ്പോൾ അന്നേരം എല്ലാവരും ചിരിച്ചപ്പോൾ എന്തിനാണെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചവൻ പറഞ്ഞ് അതെനിക്കിരുന്ന് ഇപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറിലല്ലേ, എനിക്കും കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ പഠിച്ചാൽ കൊള്ളാം എന്ന് പറയുകയും അതിനുശേഷം അമ്മൂമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഒരു കമ്പ്യൂട്ടർ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ മന്ത്രി വീട്ടിൽ കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് നൽകുകയും ചെയ്ത് ഇപ്പം കമ്പ്യൂട്ടറും പഠിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പം ഞങ്ങൾ ഓൺലൈനിലാണ് ക്ലാസ്, അമ്മൂമ്മയ്ക്ക് ഓൺലൈനിലൂടെയാണ് ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ എടുക്കുന്നത്. കൂടാതെ നമ്മുടെ കോമൺവെൽത്തിന്റെ ഗുഡ് വിൽ അംബാസിഡറായി അമ്മൂമ്മയ്ക്ക് അമ്മൂമ്മയെ തെരഞ്ഞെടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവിടെ വന്ന് അമ്മൂമ്മയെ വീട്ടിൽ വന്നാണ് അതിനുള്ള മൊമെന്റും മറ്റു കാര്യം സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് ഉൾപ്പെടെ അമ്മൂമ്മയ്ക്ക് നൽകി. അതിനുശേഷം രാഷ്ട്രപതിയിൽ നിന്നുള്ള നാരീശക്തി പുരസ്കാർ അവാർഡ് ലഭിച്ച്.
ഇനി അമ്മയുടെ ആഗ്രഹം എന്താണ്, എന്ത് പഠിക്കണമെന്നാണ്?
ഇപ്പൊ 99 വയസ്സുണ്ട്. 100 വയസ്സ് വരെ പഠിക്കണമെന്നുള്ള ആശയുണ്ട് എനിക്ക്. 10ാം ക്ലാസ് പാസ്സാവണമെന്ന ഉദ്ദേശം. പിന്നെ ഈശ്വരനെ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ
പ്രായം ഒന്നിനും തടസ്സമല്ല. നമ്മുടെ ഉള്ളിലുള്ള ശക്തി നമ്മൾ തന്നെ തിരിച്ചറിഞ്ഞ് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകണം എന്നുള്ളതിന് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഉദാഹരണമാണ് ശ്രീമതി കാർത്തിയായനി അമ്മ. ഞാൻ ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള അമ്മയുടെ വരും തലമുറയ്ക്ക് ഒരു മാതൃക കാട്ടിയതിന് റോട്ടറി ഇന്റർനാഷണലിന്റെയും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഓരോരുത്തരുടെയും ആശംസ അർപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് അമ്മയുടെ അനുഗ്രഹത്തിന് വേണ്ടി
That was so very touching. That was Rotarian Maya Suresh, President of the Rotary Club of Haripad, having a tete-a-tete with our Midiki Mutishi. On behalf of District 3211, let me place on record our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Rotarian Murugan Palayathil of Rotary Club of Greater Haripad and his club members for having taken so much of effort to get this most motivating interview put together. And of course, a big thank you to Rotarian Albert Alex for that heartwarming introduction. Thank you. We have with us a young lady who has carved a niche for herself in India and abroad. She has taught us by example that one is bound only by one's mind, as she has turned every disadvantage in her life into an opportunity and every opportunity into social progress. Here's an audiovisual introduction of Tiffany with a voiceover by Rotarian Parvati.
September 14, 1990, an eventful day in the otherwise normal lives of General T.P.S. Brar and his wife Leslie as she delivered a baby girl in Chennai. But destiny had other plans, and due to the sheer negligence of a doctor and an accidental overdose of oxygen supply, baby Tiffany lost her vision. Over the years, her parents tried their level best to rectify her condition, but there was nothing that could be done. Tiffany was schooled across India to accommodate her father's postings in the army. Her mother was her backbone, a gentle, caring woman who strongly influenced the little girl's early life. Leslie Brar was a gentle, empathetic person who went out of her way to help the needy. And this gentleness was all that she left behind with 12-year-old Tiffany when she succumbed to a fatal illness in the year 2002. Those were tough times, and little Tiffany had to gather her courage and learn to live life by herself. Her father was posted in Delhi, but Tiffany found herself completely out of place in the big city and came back to Trivandrum to continue her schooling, a place very close to her heart and where she continues to live today. The final year of her schooling was in Wellington, a place that gave her the strongest support in her life in the form of Vinita Akka, the domestic help at her hostel. Vinita Akka took care of Tiffany, taught her how to dress up, fold clothes, make her bed, and do all those seemingly ordinary things that we do in our daily lives. And after completing her schooling at Wellington, Tiffany moved back again to Trivandrum to pursue her bachelor's in English, along with Vinita Akka, who was by then like a mother to her. And it was here that her life changed when she visited the Kandari Center, an organization that provides leadership training for individuals who are inclined to bring about social change. Sabriye Ten Birkin, the co-founder of Kandari, handed her a white cane and urged her to walk on her own. These taps of the white cane became the most liberating experience for Tiffany. She now knew that she wanted to walk free. Today, she strongly believes that it is for a purpose that she is visually challenged and that her disability is a way to bring possibility for others like her. The discrimination and segregation that she met on account of her disability instilled in her a drive and a determination to change the plight of her fellow blind brothers and sisters. Today, she's a motivational speaker, a special educator, a social activist, ever ready to raise her voice for her community and for other disabilities as well. She has traveled far and wide and due to this has a good command over 6 Indian languages. Her organization, Jyotirgamaya Foundation, has played an integral role in empowering the blind, especially women. She started a mobile blind school, which follows the motto that if blind can't go to school, let the school go to them, and went to many houses throughout the state of Kerala in public transport, training the blind who were confined within their 4 walls in mobility, confidence, communication, daily living skills, braille, access technology, and so on. Tiffany has also broken the barrier that girls are not really good at adventure sports, especially those who are blind. She has done them all: skydiving, paragliding, tandem cycling, rope climbing, and a lot more. In fact, the President of India himself once addressed her as the courageous daughter of India when he presented her with the National Award for the Best Role Model. She is one of the only blind women in India who has delivered 5 TED Talks on a variety of thought-provoking subjects. As an activist, she has raised her voice for her community in trying to make currency notes accessible for the blind. She sensitizes companies to make web content accessible to the blind. She has given her valuable inputs to the tourism department to make tourism accessible and barrier-free. The list of awards and accolades to her credit are indeed overwhelming, but this young woman nonchalantly and silently goes on with her daily routine, working for the empowerment of the blind through the Jyotirgamaya Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my proud privilege and joy to present before you this young bundle of super motivation and definitely a role model for each and every one of us here, Miss Tiffany Brar.
So let's listen to this interesting conversation between Tiffany and Parvati.
Good evening, Tiffany. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
I can't tell you how happy I am that you are here with us on Zoom. Just to keep you informed, there are 500 odd participants here from not just Trivandrum, but all over Kerala, India, and abroad too. So there are a lot of people watching you and listening to you. Okay, I'll just go back to the time when we first met each other. I remember that, I was talking to you over the phone, and then you told me, Amma, I'd like to come and see you. What do you really see when you interact with another person?
Well, the thing is that I really see, I don't see with my external eyes like you all see, but I see from my inner eyes. I feel a person. I could feel your warmth in your voice itself. I could feel your hands as I touched you. I held your hand. You guided me into the Reserve Bank building, and I could feel that you are a person full of warmth. I could recognize that from your voice, and it's just an instinct. I think you have a round face and chubby cheeks, and yeah, that is my imagination. So I basically
that's
see from my inner eye.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you mean every time you interact with somebody, you are able to get an idea of what sort of person that is, right? Okay,
Well,
I'll go
yes,
ahead
I
with the next.
guess you all get to know by the expression. Yeah, but we get to know by the voice modulation and by our own imagination. So I don't need eyes to see what a person is like.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think we all need to practice that sometime in life. And see, quite a few of us have read about you, seen you on YouTube, and even interacted with you. I think you have attended Rotary meetings too. But still, for the rest of the participants here, let's start from the beginning. Can you share with me some of your childhood memories?
Well, I would say the first memory that hit me in the face was being thrown out of the class when I had given the right answer. It was a GK class, and everyone was very attentive. And I loved GK because it was just small answers like national parks, states, and their capitals. So when the teacher asked us the capital of India, I said Delhi, and my friend said Calcutta. And my friend was told, "Oh, shabash." And I was told, "How can you answer the question? You're blind. I mean, you've cheated, or you've made your friend literally give the wrong answer for you to get the right answer." And I said, "No, these allegations are wrong." And I was thrown out of the class. Again, I remember another day in a science class where all the children were busily turning their pages. They were looking at the diagram in front of them. And I had no braille book, no diagram. I could not read the lesson from page number 13 and para number 6 and line number 5. I could not do that because I had no braille books. I had no tactile diagrams in front of me. In the maths classes, the same thing repeated itself as a cycle. I was told by the maths teacher, "Just sit down in your back bench or go to the resource room. Don't disturb my class. I will make you pass. I will give you 18 marks, which is the passing marks, but just don't disturb my class." So these were many experiences that reminded me that I was blind.
Oh, and what was the real first obstacle that you faced in life?
Well, I would say the obstacles were being thrown out of the class, being thrown out of the games field, being thrown out of the maths class, not being given proper assistive devices, no braille books, um, no proper help, the demise of my mother, my father being have to go for the war as his call of duty to the nation. So life was a challenge, everything in itself.
Okay, what about friends in school? How were they to you?
Well, in some schools, I didn't have friends at all. I was like the odd man out or the alien. In some places, I did have a few good friends who would help me. But also, there were some limitations. But there was one particular friend of mine in school, in my 11th and 12th standard, who did not think that I was blind. We went hiking on the most inaccessible terrain. We went walking. We went for everything. She wanted to include me in everything. She wanted me to try everything. And in fact, she, and a lot of my schoolmates, and even my dad, who was the patron of the school at the time, we went out on a trek. And my dad said, "Ameya, I will give you 500 rupees if you take my daughter up this hill, because I bet you can't." And she said, "Uncle, I don't want your 500 rupees, but I will bring her up this hill because she has to experience hiking just like the others, not because she is blind. She should not be left out." And we climbed that hill. And of course, my friend didn't take the money. That was a different thing. But she wanted me to experience everything.
Are you still in touch with Amaya?
Yeah, I'm still in touch with her. She's
Where is she
abroad
now?
now. She's married and she's abroad.
Okay, do you get to see her?
She's in Europe. She's in Luxembourg.
Okay, okay. So it's not often that you get.
No, she's abroad now. So once in. Yeah.
Okay. Tell
But
me
now I've
about
made other good friends. I've made, yeah.
You did? Okay. In Trivandrum?
Yes, I made other good friends.
You did.
Well, yes, in Trivandrum, I made a few good friends, but a few of them, one is in Trivandrum and the other two or three who really matter, they are, not here right now. And of course, my team members, they are also like my friends. So yeah, I have an okay kind of friend circle now. And of course, now people don't say, "Oh, she's blind. Oh, poor blind girl." So no one says that anymore. But it was more so in the school days.
What about life at home? How did your parents deal with your blindness? Were there restrictions, or were they determined to get you, on your own?
Well, there were two things. Once was my father being an army officer with his career, he didn't have much time. And my parents didn't want to always put me in a blind school because they had heard through various sources that the conditions were really bad and things in that. So they, wanted me to go to sighted schools. And as a result, I was always the odd man out. And later, eventually when they did enroll me in the blind school, even though there were certain bad living conditions or things like that, I experienced that, but I was also happy that I was included and I was one among my other blind colleagues, and I could also understand what kind of difficulties blind people experience in school. So that also helped me to start the organization, because who more than a blind person can understand the problems of other blind people? But had I been really, really sheltered and not allowed to go to a blind organization, I may not have been, so familiar to the problems. But yes, initially when I stood my ground and I started traveling in public transport, my father said, "You're not going. Someone will catch you and do this and do that, and someone will kidnap you for money, and someone will do that." I said, "I'm not going to tell them I'm your daughter, I'm a Brar's daughter or whatever." Someone asked me on the bus stand, "What's your father's name?" I'm going to say Gangadharan Nair, and he's a KSRTC conductor, and that's it, I'm not going to tell them, what my dad does and that you can kidnap me for money. I'm not silly. So, I made my dad, I pacified him by this answer, but this didn't work. He was like, "No, this, that." But in the end, he saw that I was interacting with other people, other blind people from Kandari, and also with also with other Indian blind people from the blind organizations. And then he thought that, okay, it's a no-go. I'm not going to listen, because I just didn't listen. I said, well, if something has to happen, it happens. Even now in this COVID situation, some of my relatives in Delhi and Chandigarh, who are always chaperoned by drivers and chauffeurs and helpers and everywhere, two of our relatives have got COVID. And of course, now they've recovered. Thank the good God. And I, who am always traveling in public transport, met you also by traveling in public transport. And a person like me is perfectly okay. So I told my dad, I said, "Dad, unko kaisa ye COVID aa raha hai? They are at home." And he said, "God knows where to send COVID and where not to send COVID." So I said, "Yes, I guess he does. So, nothing's going to happen to me."
Well, I definitely hope you stay
Yeah.
safe. I still remember you came in a rickshaw to my office. I'll never forget that. I did feel scared, when you came in that auto rickshaw. Okay, tell me, what exactly do you teach your students in Jyotirgamaya? What is your study pattern?
Our study pattern is we first go to the houses of some people, not everyone, those parents who are not willing. We go to the houses, we train them in mobility, in the use of the cane in front of their parents, we counsel the parents, we do some one-to-one counseling, and then we bring them to our training center for advanced training. And for those parents, of course, who call us and say, "Can we bring our children?" We have an admission process. Our age is from 15 to around 35 years. We don't take people above 40 or 50. And even if we do, we train them only in mobility and other kind of skills like vocational skills. So it's basically a need-based training. And we start with the basics of computers. We train them in the use of a keyboard, notepad, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, internet operations, emailing, installing of software, installing of screen readers, desktop navigation. Then we teach them all they need to know with the computer, also handling social media. And now, of course, we have included Zoom, WebEx Meet, and Google Meet in our syllabus. We also teach them the use of banking applications. That's why we had the session with RBI. It was very, very helpful, Parvati ma'am. Thank you once again. And so we teach them the use of an iPhone, the use of Android, the use of a computer, the use of a recording device, which is called a Daisy player or an Angel player. We teach them orientation and mobility, the use of the white cane, how to travel in public transport, how to shop, how to get the necessary change, how to identify currency. We teach them yoga and adventure sports. I mean, whenever we can, we take them out for adventure tours to the beach, to horse riding, to, I mean, Tenmala, to Happy Land, I mean, to wherever we can, and we enable them to experience all the adventures. And we also have people from UST Global teaching them interpersonal skills and soft skills so that they get the side of the companies also. So it will help them for their employability skills. And of course, communicative English.
Oh,
So it's
that's
a full
fabulous.
package. And now we have
Yeah.
just started PSC coaching. We have just started PSC coaching and handicraft training from this year onwards. I mean, from 2020 onwards.
Is that in alliance with the government or something? Is it?
No, it's just our staff. I mean, it's our staff. They download the PSC questions and they read and discuss with our students and they record the answers for them also. It's not in line with the government.
Okay, so let me take you to another. I did see that video of you into adventure sports. What do you have to say about that? That was just fantastic. I wouldn't dare do that.
Was skydiving. It was a very
Yeah.
wonderful experience, actually flying. I asked my mother when I was small that how do people fly? And my mom said, in a plane. And I said, not in a plane, but how can you fly in the free air, having the winds? I mean, having just the wind at your face, at your ears, I mean, physically flying. And she said, well, I don't know. You'll have to grow up and find out. So, of course, when I grew up, the first time I did paragliding was in Darjeeling, Kalimpong. And then I took a step further. I did skydiving in Belgium when I had gone on an internship to an organization called Views International. And this internship was, I mean, facilitated by the Erasmus Plus Strength Through Solidarity project. Funded by the European Union. People from different countries went to other countries for exposure. So people from Germany came here, people from Africa went to Poland, people from Brazil went to another country, and I went to Belgium in Germany. So there I was able to do skydiving. And it was a thrilling, wonderful experience, jumping from 4,000 feet high, and also showing that the blind community that nothing is impossible for blind people. We just need some adaptations. Blind girls and women, especially, who are stopped and who are prevented and who are always told, no, can't, can actually do things if they are able, if they are given the room and facility, they can do it. And if they are given the right moral backing and encouragement.
I'm just looking at the list of awards that you've won. It's just fabulous. I think you've even been gifted, awarded by Rotary International. You won the Make a Difference Award from
Yes.
Rotary. You won the Vocational Excellence Award from Rotary. Is there any other award that you won? Oh yes, for the Sake of Honor Award. You won that too.
Yes. There are 3
That's
Rotary
brilliant.
Awards, yes.
Tell me, how do you think you have succeeded in influencing lives?
Well, somehow I feel I've done nothing in some cases, but in some cases, when I see some of my students, because see, now in your bank, I mean, for example, or in my school, in a actual government school, there are some good students, there are bad students. There are good employees, there are bad employees. Some employees might write the IBPS and they might get into the bank, but they might be clerks for the rest of their life. Some employees might start with clerical jobs and might become the CGM or the chief general manager or the chairman or whatever. So it depends on people. So I used to earlier think that, okay, I've not changed everyone's life. I've managed to change only 2 lives in this course. I mean, we have 8 students or 10 students, and only one has been placed, or only 2 have gone for higher studies, or only 2 are good. The other, now I feel person to person, but I have done my duty by empowering them, and also I make sure I give them one-to-one individualized attention. I make sure our staff give them the same kind of quality training. And then of course it's up to them that they have to go into the big bad world and they have to exercise their own strengths. But our job is to empower them and to equip them. And yes, how I influence lives is that 2 uneducated boys, one aged 27 and one aged 24. They were both uneducated when I first met them, and they attended our training. I was able to help them for around 1.5 years, and both of them wrote their SLC exam. Both of them are very, very good in technology. In fact, one enrolled himself as a computer trainer in another organization with a fairly decent salary, and the other was working in a call center, and now he's trying to appear for government exams. So I gave them the drive. Of course, here in Kerala, people don't stay in one job for a long time because they get bored. But at least he got the taste of the outside world, and at least they got empowered. There were some girls also who could not even step out of their houses, and now one of our girls who had a broken marriage, who was very, very depressed, is now working in an internet cafe, and the other girls are doing their masters in English in colleges. So
Okay,
we managed to.
Okay, I'm a little curious. Why did you choose to settle down in Trivandrum?
Well, actually, my childhood was here, and my parents were here, and my mother had very fond memories of this place. She went for Ayurveda treatment here. The way the massage ladies behaved with her. She took us to the beach, so she used to make friends with the fishermen and the fisherwoman and the fisher market, and the way they made friends with her and the way they behaved. I learned classical singing and Bharatanatyam, and my teachers were very friendly and open. And it was the first time I spoke on TV here in Trivandrum. And in 1997, of course, it was because of a TV program here in Kerala that I won the Child of the Year award at Kolhapur, Ichal Karanji. Yeah, and it was a very, very, very it was kind of a opening door, and I just loved the way the people are. Of course, then I didn't know that there are going to be strikes and there are going to be samaram and there's going to be problems and things like that, but now I've learned how to take that in my stride and fight back. But as a child, I had very, very innocent memories of the culture, the sound of the flute, the sound of the chenda, the elephants, all the temple festivals. Everything was so touching to me. It still is. All these beautiful things are still there, but of course, now it's plus the problems and the samaram and the politics and the strikes and yeah, everything else that has to be done in reality.
Okay, one last question. We are running out of time. So it's just my final question for you. What are your dreams for the future?
Well, after I've learned not to dream basically, because man proposes and God disposes. But yes, if humanly possible, if I can, and if the circumstances of nature allow me, I would like to make an accessible campus for the blind people. I would like to work as an activist to make India and Kerala accessible for the blind people. And I would like to have a campus of my own so that, we don't have to keep shifting, and we have an accessible campus, an accessible gym, good classrooms, adventure sports environment for blind people to live their lives in a good world. I mean, in a conducive learning environment.
I really, really hope that all your dreams come true and, the blind get more access everywhere. Definitely our prayers are with you, Tiffany, and we loved having you here. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
I just like to add something. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Parvati ma'am. And I'm very happy. And thank you all the Rotarians who are listening to me here. If anyone does want to contact me or support me, I mean, mentally or financially, or just by saying, hey, it's not the end of the world. I mean, all or just encourage. If there's anyone who wants to connect, please visit the Jyotirgamaya Facebook page or Instagram page, or you can always send a mail to office@jyotirgamayaindia.org. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany, for
Thank you, sir.
sharing your thoughts. And
Thank you.
I recognize the presence of PDG Ramesh Chandra. Thank you for joining us, PDG Ramesh.
Thank you, Rotary Parvati. And Tiffany, we are truly humbled by you and wish you the very best in your endeavors. We've all seen various types of film actors, some brilliant, some beautiful, some humble and service-minded. Our guest, Mamta Mohandas, is a combination of all these adjectives. She's beautiful, a powerhouse of talent, a cancer survivor, and an embodiment of the spirit of never giving up. Here's an introduction of this beautiful personality.
Born in Bahrain to an NRI investment banker Mohandas and a mathematics teacher Ganga as an only child, Mamta was raised well protected yet independent at the same time. She always believed that she could make up for the absence of a son that her dad had longed to have, while her mother always reminded her to stay grounded and humble. Being raised in the mid-90s with no particular ambition to pursue cinema or art, little did Mamta know that she would stumble into the film industry right after her graduation from Mount Carmel College in Bangalore after completing her bachelor's in computers, maths and statistics. But it was no easy cakewalk. It's taken her a lot of persistence and grit to put both time and effort to understand the nitty-gritty of filmmaking, involving emotion and practicing the art of acting for camera. Today, she sits back proud, having completed almost 45 feature films as lead actress, playback singing in over 10 films in 3 South Indian languages, and also 2 state awards and 2 Filmfare awards, along with several others in her kitty. She has worked with several reputed directors in not just Malayalam movies, but also Tamil and Telugu, and alongside many big stars like Mammootty, Rajnikant, Nagarjuna, and so on. And to cap it all, this year, having completed 15 years in film, she recently announced the news of her venture into film production under her own banner, Mamta Mohandas Productions, which she successfully released on her birthday last month. Besides all the work she's done in the world of glitz and glamour that we already know of, there's another side to this smart, good-looking young woman that makes her personality truly stand out. She is known to ace it when it comes to overcoming challenges, even if it meant to be haunted and hurdled by a most life-threatening disease. It's been 10 years now since she has been fighting this disease with a vigorous gusto and total optimism, which not many of us can handle so well. Her recent medical journey involved voluntarily subjecting herself to being part of a clinical trial at a hospital in Los Angeles as part of its ongoing medical research to fight Hodgkin's lymphoma. Going through the onslaughts of emotional and psychological upheavals, there were times when she completely gave up hope, other times when she refused to buckle under the pressure, and times when she distanced herself from everyone, especially those who loved her the most. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mamta has seen it all. And today, she divides her time between Los Angeles, where she is based for her treatment, and India, where her work is. Her open attitude to dealing with this most trying phase in her life is indeed one of the reasons why she has won over all our hearts and why we all love her so much. And this is also the reason why she joins us today to show us all the stuff she is made up of. Presenting before you the woman of substance, beauty, character, and talent all rolled into one, Miss Mamta Mohandas.
I know I can't take one more step towards you, 'cause all that's waiting is regret. And don't you know I'm not your ghost anymore? You lost the love I loved the most. I learned to live half a life, and now you want me one more time. And who do you think you are, running around leaving scars, collecting your jar of hearts and tearing love apart? You're gonna catch a call from the eyes inside your soul, so don't come back for me. Who do you think you are?
That was beautiful. And now let's listen to this talented and inverted fighter sharing her thoughts on overcoming challenges, my perspective. Over to you, Mamta. We're all ears.
Good evening, everybody. In fact, I had logged in at 6:15 Indian time, and I've been sitting here listening and watching this entire session. I must begin by saying congratulations to Rotary International and the entire team that has put this wonderful program and union together, having people from all over the world. I have to thank Parvati, who's been in touch with me from right from the day of planning for this entire Zoom meeting, and also Mr. Sabu Cherian, who's part of my industry, who's a colleague and one of the producers in the Malayalam film industry, for connecting me to Parvati and therefore being a part of this wonderful evening here today. I am truly inspired, I must say, beginning with Jennifer Jones and Karthiyayani Amma, as well as Tiffany. It's been, it just gives me so much more meaning. You know, every time I ask, every time I'm part of something, I always have to stop and ask myself, because pausing in life is one of the things that I've come across the most, because we're discussing overcoming obstacles today. Pausing is one of the things that I've done the most in my life to reassess. And as I was on this call with all of you, I was trying to ask myself, why am I here? What am I learning from this? And I'm so happy that you've handpicked, very carefully handpicked the kind of speakers that you've had today. I'm wishing Jennifer the best for being the first female president. I don't know why it's taken this long, but just as she rightly pointed out, she might be the first, but she's certainly not the last. And it was such amazing words to hear from a woman. And when it comes to being a part of the film industry and therefore being a part of, given the opportunity to be a part of Rotary International session is also pretty amazing, because I don't think I would have, I don't know, I might have forayed into another industry or another line of work that would have ultimately made me maybe a member of the Rotary International as well. So I'm very happy that I've had the chance to attend one of the Rotary sessions in Cochin. I, in fact, even received a vocational award by the Rotary Cochin a few years ago. And it was a great moment of recognition for me. I met eminent people from different walks of life who are local, because when I'm in India, I spend most of my time working, shooting. The schedules get so crazy, and I often tell my parents that I don't get to meet normal people here. And that's, I find so much inspiration in normalcy. And as many of you already know about my journey through cancer, that has given me, I'm someone who's always seen an obstacle as an opportunity in my life, and that is what has helped me grow to become the person that I am today. And that's the only reason why I always ask people, why am I a speaker? Because all I want to do is listen, like all of you, because I learn a lot by listening, by observation. I'm really happy to be here today. And Parvati, just like we had spoken over the phone about this, I loved the AV introduction. But to be honest, after having watched, everything that I did about Kartiyayani Amma and as well as Tiffany, such, I think we never stop dreaming, and I think women have greater dreams than men have, because we have been under oppression for so long. And I would say that today women have a voice. Today women are given a chance to express themselves fully. Our emotions are listened to by others. And as I was watching Kartiyayani Amma's zeal and the zest and the amount of energy that she has at this age, and I think many young women need to listen to what she is saying. And I even liked the way she said when she was boarding the plane, she she was asked to be careful, and she asked the others to be careful instead, because you're the ones who are going to fall. It's not me. So it's not my number yet, So it is fantastic, because I meet a lot of people who are who carry a lot of negative emotions. It can even be in cinema, to be honest. People who are fighting, going through hardships, financial problems, even fighting cancer. I've come across many people who, in my friend circle, anytime when someone is diagnosed with cancer, I'm the first one to receive a call. And since I'm the last speaker here, there were so many things that I could take from the speakers that just spoke before me. And one emotion that I have always, one conflict emotion that I've always combated is the constant thought that, have I been able to make a difference in someone's life? I've only been able to touch the lives of a few people, because there were many people who have contacted me, whom I've helped for many different medical reasons. And some of them have passed as well. And the pain of it becomes very personal to you. But some of it make it through. And when they do, and in fact, there's one girl named Navya who's extremely close to me. She was diagnosed at the age of 8. And I had just finished my first round of, lymphoma at that time. And today she's all set for university, and I'm hoping that she does come for consultation to Los Angeles, and she's consulting under the same doctor as I am. And it's beautiful to see little girl children, grow up and become something else. And no obstacle has been able to stop them from pursuing their dreams. And besides all of this, the one thing that, very different from Kartiyayani Amma, that probably Mamta Mohandas or, I think Tiffany also had been blessed with, is coming from a wonderful family who's, whether they were there forever is not the question, but they were able to instill values and the spirit to fight, even though we are an only child. And I think also being born as an only girl child in a family. And there was a recent interview where, I I told people that I don't see myself any different from a man. I did not grow up in a society where I was born and raised overseas, and I was raised to believe that man and women are no different from each other. I went to a co-ed school. We all stood in the same line. We were not separated by our genders. So I think I grew up with a very open mind, and there were a lot of people who accused me of being blind to gender differences in India, and that is where I think the way Tiffany was speaking, I took so much from it, so much inspiration from it, because I don't think she sees, she sees humans divided with genders, right? I don't think, I think a part of it, it's good to fall blind to certain things sometimes, because it helps you combat certain hurdles which are there. We definitely know those sort of obstacles exist, especially in a male-dominated world, which exists in my industry as well. But how long are we going to, there's a question that always comes to my mind: how long am I going to play victim to the same circumstances? I'm going to overcome this, right? So these are the things that I took from the chat that we had all this time. I think about close to 2 hours now, and it's just been beautiful. And one of the things that I wish to say before I want to go into some Q&As is that it all begins with perception. Overcoming obstacles. Your perception of obstacles is what makes all the difference. Because I think some people take it like it's a puzzle to solve. Some of them an opportunity to grow. Some of them take it as threats because they end up getting scared. And the moment you sense fear, I think you try to. There's a flight or fight situation, right? Some of them choose to run away from it, and the moment you experience fear, you try to hide to avoid the shame, of being able to confront that particular situation. So I have gone through, my hurdles in different ways, but each time I fell, I think I rose. I rose caring lesser, I would say, because you get numb to a familiar obstacle after a point in time. And I think each time I rose, I also rose higher. So that being said, thank you so much for that, lovely introduction. I would like to move into a little Q&A so that this becomes more interactive for me.
Happy to have you here, Mamta. Yes, we have a few questions lined up already for you.
Yes.
Yeah, shall I move on?
Yes, please.
We have Rotarian Anita Nair from Rotary Club of Trivandrum Residency with the first question.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello, Anita.
Good evening, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can. I can hear you very well, loud and clear.
Good evening.
Anita, go ahead.
As an ardent fan of yours, ma'am, I have a question for you, ma'am. You are working in an
Anita, we can't hear you.
Not clear.
Industry which has a label of. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes. Can you please repeat?
You're working in an industry which has a label of being pretty tough with cutthroat competition. How do you think that you have been able to overcome the challenges in the film industry and emerge so successful today and even in production? The journey would definitely have been a tough road, isn't it, ma'am?
Yes. So, so you're asking me about. I think I heard all of your question. So to begin with, I think understanding the obstacle that I'm going to face or I'm likely to face in the industry would have been humongous if I was aware of the kind of obstacles that I'm likely to face. So But to begin with, I was not an aspiring actress. I was an aspiring investment banker like my father. So there was a little bit of, when they say ignorance is bliss, I think that is what helped me get through the first few years of my career in cinema. Um, I had grown up, I'm the daughter of a banker, and I've seen my dad work really, really hard his entire life. Um, we were not, I'm not raised in a rich family, but I'm from a middle class family. But parents were very hardworking. My father, like I said, is a banker. My mom was a teacher. They used to go to work morning to almost late evening, and there were times when I had to come home. The key would be hidden below the carpet, and I would have to take it. As a little child, I was probably just 7 or 8 at that time, come back from school, open the door, get in. So I had a very what I would perceive as a very normal middle class NRI life, growing up in the Middle East. I had a very linear vision of what my dreams were at that time. I thought I would be getting married at the age of 22, 23, just like my mom did, have babies, and become a banker like my father. And cinema completely took me on a different tangent. And yes, like you rightly pointed out, it did seem to me like a very biased industry later on. It was not it was not so in the beginning. It was a pretty smooth sail. I believed in hard work. I took almost pretty much every opportunity that came my way. But I was confused for a very, very long time. And the moment I had set my mind on pursuing cinema as my full-time career is when the obstructions or the challenges being in cinema became apparent to me. So it wasn't ignorance and blissful anymore. 2009 was the year that I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I would say that I decided to reevaluate everything that I was doing at that point. I would say that probably would have been that one moment in my life which became the catalyst to kind of help me reanalyze everything that I was doing, because life became very. I just realized that life is very, very short, and everything that I do with this little bit of energy that I have left, because I was on chemos at that time, and I had barely started experiencing success in cinema. I did not have easy success in cinema. In which I'll fluke hit in the Vanagil. I never really got that in my career. So that was constantly running at the back of my head. Why am I not, why don't I have a beginner's luck or, any of that? Even though I had my first movie under the direction of someone like Hariharan sir, I still did not have easy success. So I think the fact that I did not have an easy win in this industry is what kept me fighting for success longer. Maybe if I tasted it earlier, I might have quit and, become an investment banker like my dad anyway. So the biggest obstacle is what made me reevaluate what I'm doing in life. And that has helped me stay stronger and also fight. I think what happened post cancer is that none of the generally occurring disparities seemed like a challenge for me anymore, because I felt that I've already overcome the first phase of the toughest battle that anyone can handle humanly. So I think that is what kind of made the biggest difference for me personally when it comes to life, my career, my choices, my emotions. Yeah. So I hope I was able to handle that question for me.
You did that very well.
Yeah,
Thank you,
You did
ma'am.
that
Thank
very
you.
well.
All the best in your all future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita.
I can see Rotarian Sarama Maman from the Rotary Club of Chengano, eager to ask something.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hi,
Sarama
hello.
ma'am. Hi.
Hi, hello, good
Namaskaram.
evening.
Good evening.
Namaskaram. Okay, Mamta, do you feel that you had to overcome a great deal of challenges in your life just because you are a woman? I mean, especially the role of a typical Kerala woman you played in the movie My Boss.
Yeah. But that was a woman who would be totally relentless in not allowing the man to succeed either. Well, truth be told, I might have faced marginal issues when it comes to my career, but very marginal because I know it is a very male-dominated industry in the first place. And when I began my career, you should keep in mind that it was 15 years ago. So, we can't even talk about women who have faced these sort of things even before that, like even a decade longer than me. But along that with came a little bit of lack of awareness that these differences actually existed at that time. I would say that it is in the last 5 to 7 years that we have actually, women themselves have started identifying that we have certain, we are being oppressed by certain disparities in every single area. So when it comes to me personally, besides the fact that I was a woman who believed in working hard and making my way up, I did not see the world, that the world is out there or the male gender is out there to attack me. I never looked at the world like that. So I think the way you look at the world is how you feel it as well, right? So I never felt an attack because I never believed that they're out there to attack me. I knew that I had to, if I get appreciated, it'll only be on the basis of merit. Because that, I think that would have begun even in school. If I had to get recognized, I would be in a competition with a boy as well, and my success is going to be directly proportional to my merit, and not based on how I look, how tall I am, if I'm fair, if I'm a pretty girl, it was none of that. So I had to make my way up like that. In fact, until a certain age, I was even a very fat girl. I had body image issues which women face even in the industry today. Um, so as an adult, in the last 5 years, I have seen this being discussed a lot. Um, um, and I think as much as we have expressed it, there are people listening. I don't believe in um, defaming the other gender to rise as a woman. That's my personal take on it. And I think today in cinema, in my profession, I think our stories are being told. Women characters are being written. It's being expressed, and certain things still exist, like gender. In gender disparity, we also have payment disparity, which is, which is not just our problem. So sometimes, why do we make it look like it's only a problem in India? No, it's not. It's a global problem. It exists in every industry, in the corporate field, in different industries. So um, I don't think that is my biggest issue at the moment. I think we're growing, and change will happen. And to see a permanent change happen, we're going to a lot of things need to change. Things that are beyond our control also will have to change. But I know that each one of us is contributing to something which is very, very large, right? Just like I think the beginning, Jennifer had come up with this, she reminded us of how the first women were brought into Rotary. That was such a brilliant story. Women had to hide and put their initials, and sign up to be a member. And that says a lot. And today she's sitting as so see the journey that we have had as women. So we can never say that a woman's need is not being met. It is. The men are also listening. We have lovely men amongst us as well. So um, there is a big, I think there is a lot of active argument that is going on in the industry. And I hope that going forward, we don't split genders, but, we unite as just good human beings, and also doing everything that we do just because we love what we're doing, and not to create more divide, because I feel that women are also creating a lot of division amongst women in different ways, which is not which is not needed. And I would like to personally lead by example as opposed to getting into dialogue.
I think judge you for your caliber, not for anything else. That's what you meant.
Exactly, Sarama. Thank you so much, Sarama, for the question. Sarama
Now-
ma'am ചേച്ചിയാണ് തോന്നുന്നത് to call. Thank you.
Okay, we
I'll
have
not
another
forget
question.
that you call me also by my name. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, why leave the men behind? Looks like Rotarian Biju Krishna from Rotary Club of Trivandrum Anandapuri has an intriguing question for you.
Fantastic. Bring it on. Yes.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're very audible.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Biju. Hello.
Hi,
Namaskar.
good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Namaskaram. I'm Biju Krishna from Rotary Club of Trivandrum Anantapuri, and my boss being my favorite film. You enacted very well there.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being a part of our district seminar, Empowering Women. And my question is, would it be right to say that women themselves are the deterrent for women to rise up in life, like mother-in-law versus daughter-in-laws, and the fight in houses between the in-laws, rivalry in office between women? Actually, an attitude change is needed for women at all levels and at all ages. An employed man would have no hesitation to marry an unemployed girl or a housewife as his partner. But would the reverse be acceptable for an employed woman? Your comments, please. Thank you so much in advance.
Thank you so much for the question. I would say that it is a very, there are things which I can answer as a professional, and there are things that I can or may not be able to answer when it comes to applying the same analogy to someone's personal life, a woman's personal choice or a man's personal choice. I'm someone who personally believes that women should lift other women up. It is very, very important that we set those sort of examples. In fact, one of the main purposes of launching my production house was also to enable and empower other female writers, because I have come across many incidents where I see an female assistant director or associate director for a day or two, and then from the second week onwards, that person is missing on location. And I've several times I have, picked up the phone, called them or chat with them over WhatsApp and asked them, I'm missing you here. It was nice to chat with you in the caravan once in a while, because it's nice to talk to other women. And I feel very nice. I believe that I'm an alpha woman like that, who likes to see other women, stand up for other women. And they're not women who are not fighting for themselves. They are. I recognize women who are really putting in the effort to make a difference in life, because there are other women who, just like you said, the unemployed women who I think who would rather just get married and play the housewife. So that's an individual choice again. But I have a lot of respect for women who tried their best and go out of their way to handle both. Because I know that today's men appreciate contributing women. Adu or housewife but if she earns, then why not? Because today it's getting very challenging to manage kids, to manage their school, to manage everything. I think even sending them for higher education, unless there's a teamwork, unless you're willing to go in for teamwork, then why even get married? You might as well just stay single. So in fact, I encourage a lot of women these days to get married a little later in life, because I personally feel that at the age of 23 or 24 was when I got married, and I knew nothing about relationships at that time. And our life, or our generation itself, has changed so much from what it was during my parents' age. I tell my parents that they were lucky to get each other through an arranged marriage setup, and it might not be the same for girls or boys of this generation. But what is interesting is that my mother back then still chose to work, and my dad was fully okay with it. So I don't understand what is happening to the new generation, where we are discussing so much of this differences that we are having between genders. And there was coming back to discussing personal life, and this might also throw some light over what Sarah Mam Chechi had asked me before. If I had faced any sort of oppression in terms of gender in my life, it has only been in my when I have allowed the opposite gender to cross a certain boundary with me, but that is by my own personal choice as well. It would have been when I'm in a relationship, or with a person that I'm seeing as a potential partner at that time, is when I have given them the right to talk to me that way, or to for me to feel that I'm emotionally abused by this person. I have allowed it too, right? Now, how do we teach our girls to combat emotional abuse? We have to teach our women to fight in a graceful manner, or fight in a way that our needs and our emotions are conveyed in a healthy way. Not behave like the attacker, or like the person who's accusing of us of certain duties that we have not been able to fulfill of theirs. And again, coming back to, I think, what Jennifer said, it is important to teach the men the art of nurturing as well. I think that is when a man would also realize, oh my God, this is what a woman does when she is in a domestic space. And my partner, or my equal half, actually they say better half, just recognize that this half is actually better. And women are fundamentally, I think men have also realized that women are fundamentally a stronger gender, emotionally, intellectually. So there is a natural tendency for us to get suppressed. I think that is what is actually happening. It is important for women to stand up for other women. It is important for women to work with other women with opposite opinions, because that also matters. That is when you create a healthy environment. We need women who think differently. We need women who think the opposite of us. Healthy debate, engane cheyanam, and how to achieve success through coming to a place of equilibrium, I think is very, very important. I think education is very, very primal to all women. I think women deserve to get educated as much as the men do, in all regardless of class and what background you're coming from. That's very important, because education and life experiences is what will teach. As much as men have experienced all these things much earlier than women have just started experiencing these things now, therefore giving them the courage to stand against all obstacles, like the ones you mentioned. So I think it is important for a woman to be able to be so confident that she can nominate herself for that position, whether it is a man who's hiring her, or a woman who's hiring her. I think your merit and your confidence should speak in the end.
Well said.
Yes.
Alipi is ready with the last question.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to it. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Sheila, ma'am.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, Mamta.
Good evening.
Good evening. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ചോദ്യം മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിച്ചോട്ടെ?
Sure, please.
എനിക്ക് ചോദിക്കാനുള്ളത് മമതയുടെ ജീവിതത്തിലേക്കുള്ള ഒരു തിരിച്ചുവരവിനെ പറ്റിയാണ്. ചോദിക്കുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടില്ല എന്ന് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. മമതയെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് ആ ഒരു കരിയർ ഒരു പ്രൈം ടൈമിൽ എത്തി നിൽക്കുന്ന സമയത്താണല്ലോ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു അസുഖം ഡയഗ്നോസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. അതിനെ തുടർന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഈ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ തന്നെ അതിന്റെ ട്രീറ്റ്മെന്റ് നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കെ സ്വയം ഒരു തീരുമാനമെടുത്ത് പുതിയൊരു ട്രീറ്റ്മെന്റിനായി ലോസ് ഏഞ്ചൽസിലേക്ക് പോയി എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. ആ ഒരു യങ് ഏജിൽ ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് ഒരു സ്ത്രീക്കെന്നല്ല ആർക്കും തന്നെ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു തീരുമാനമെടുക്കാൻ സാധിക്കുമെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നില്ല. അത്ര ആത്മധൈര്യത്തോടു കൂടി എടുത്ത ആ തീരുമാനത്തെ പറ്റി ഇപ്പോൾ എന്താണ് മമതയ്ക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്? ആർ യു ഗ്ലാഡ് ദാറ്റ് യു ടുക്ക് ദിസ് ഡിസിഷൻ? ഹൗ ഡു യു ഫീൽ ടുഡേ? ആ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഒന്ന് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാം.
Thank you, Sheila ma'am, for the question. In fact, 2014-ലാണ് ആ ഒരു വലിയൊരു ഒരു ഡിസിഷൻ നമ്മുടെ ഫാമിലി എടുക്കേണ്ടി വന്നത്. And it was actually when I ran out of all treatment options here in India. അപ്പം ഒരു പുതിയൊരു ഡ്രഗ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു, which was recently researched ആ സമയത്ത് 2014-ൽ recently researched and approved by the FDA ആയിരുന്നു ആ ഡ്രഗ്. And they were running one more extended trial for that particular drug for Hodgkin's lymphoma. But what happened is we found out that the import cost of that medicine was at least 1.2 CR or something for 1 year. So for someone who had already fought with a disease like this for the last, at that point, like, for 2009 to 14, where it was a significant journey for me and my family. I also had a bone marrow transplant in the year 2013, which failed. So due to that, I was aware of the financial, weight that it was weighing my dad, a little bit. So by the time we came to this point, it was a miracle that someone from the US actually reached out to us at that moment, because I was experiencing extreme pain at that time. And in the life for the first time give up ഒരു mental state ആ സമയത്തായിരുന്നു വന്നത്. So they say some of the biggest steps that you take in life is when you're kind of pushed off the ledge. So അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു decision making moment ആയിരുന്നു for me, because I had to sign up for this clinical trial where I would get the medication for free. But the doctors had a lot of hope for this medicine. And it was the first time they were trying a PD-L1 immunotherapy drug for Hodgkin's lymphoma. Because Hodgkin's disease is something which is otherwise very easily curable. And there are certain percentage of people, which is about 10 to 15% of patients have refractory Hodgkin's disease. And once you get that, the tumor sites can show up again in the next scan. So സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ നിവൃത്തിയില്ലാത്തത് കൊണ്ടാണ് വിട്ടിട്ട് പോയത്. ഇറ്റ് വാസ് എ വെരി ബിഗ് ഡിസിഷൻ ഫോർ അസ് ടു മേക്ക് അറ്റ് ദാറ്റ് ടൈം. പേരൻസ് ഇല്ലാതെ പോകണമെന്ന് ഞാൻ തീരുമാനിച്ചതിന് ഒരു റീസൺ വാസ് ദാറ്റ് ഐ ഡിഡ് നോട്ട് വാണ്ട് ദം ടു സീ അനദർ ഡേ ഓഫ് മൈൻ വെർ ഐ എം സാഡ്. And I could not stand my mom being sad for me anymore. And I made them one promise. I said, as much as you've respected my decision to go and take this treatment on my own, I also want to promise you that the next time you see me, if you see me, the next time you see me, you'll only see me smiling. So അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഞാനൊരു 5 months കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ തിരിച്ച് നാട്ടിലേക്ക് എൻ്റെ ഫസ്റ്റ് വിസിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് by then we already knew that this treatment was working for me. So what was very interesting about that year was also I surrendered to that remaining part of my life, whatever that was going to be. ഒരു തരം ഒരു resigning to that period ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ശരി, cinema is not there anymore. ഹെൽത്ത് കിട്ടിയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ അത് തന്നെയല്ലേ എല്ലാം എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ആറ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡ് തന്നെയായിരുന്നു ആ സമയത്ത് ഉണ്ടായത്. ആൻഡ് I just wanted my treatment to work for me at that time. And I think അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു സറണ്ടർ ആണ് സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ ലൈഫിൽ ഒരു പുതിയൊരു കാഴ്ചപ്പാട് തന്നെ തന്നത്. ആൻഡ് ഇന്നും എനിക്ക് നന്ദി പറയാനുള്ളത് is my parents for letting me make that decision at that time. And today they have me back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mamta.
Thank you.
Mata, there is a last question from our Vice Governor, Dr. John Daniel. Last question.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening, Mamta.
Yes. Good
So
evening,
nice to see you.
Mr. John.
Yeah,
Good
you
evening.
are the role model in the matter of courage, determination, and perseverance and tolerance. Well, my question is, is it not time to, because see, even men and women, both are empowered by women. Actually, the mother gives birth to both man and woman. And she the goddess Saraswati and she Lakshmi, wealth and knowledge, everything is named after Mother India, named after women. And even Finland, which is calculated to be the richest country, freedom of this thing before Magna Carta, freedom of women was given in Finland, voting right. And even New Zealand, the most peaceful country, also they gave freedom to women first, even before Great Britain. So should we not stop this women empowerment? See, why don't we say men empowerment? Because both women and men, not immediately, later in the near future, at least we should stop this. Because see, women say they are far more in a place like where women should be respected men. And is it not time that the ladies, women do research?
I think it is time for
And come out of this women empowerment. It's really a simple just
yeah, I
please.
actually
I would like you to
it's
reply on
actually
that.
sorry, my battery was running low. So, it is actually a very, very interesting point that you made now. We are speaking a lot about women empowerment at this point, and the question is the thought, it's a thought, because I think about this every other day. Are we casting a shadow over men, the shadow that we had over our heads for all these generations, right?
Yes.
Are we moving that shadow over our men, and isn't that a bit unfair? And we're trying to move a really dark cloud back. It's not even just a little shadow. So how can we I don't think we should stop talking about women empowerment, because I think you should remind yourself that you just had the first female president for the Rotary. So I think let it come, let the women shine. But I think we need to talk a little less about the separation. And like I said, let us constantly highlight the merits regardless of what gender we are, right? And unfortunately, what happens in India is just like you said, നമ്മൾ അമ്മ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന വാക്കിന് നമ്മൾ ഒരുപാട് വെയിറ്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്നു. We pray to so many goddesses, and we believe that Parvati in many places more powerful than Shivan, and we believe that Durga, Kali is the most powerful goddess. Like she just looks and she's going to burn everything else down. So we believe in those sort of powers, and women are powerful that way already. So ഞാൻ ഇടയ്ക്ക് പറയും, ഞങ്ങളൊന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചാൽ മാത്രം മതി, ഞങ്ങൾ വിചാരിക്കാത്തത് കൊണ്ടാണെന്ന്. So I think it's അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ഒരു ഫേക്ക് രീതിയിലുള്ള സ്ത്രീകളെ എടുത്തു വെക്കുന്നതും പാടില്ല. അതും വേണ്ട, ഒന്നും വേണ്ട. Just look at us, let us all look at each other as people who carry real emotions, people who are intelligent, people who are ഇന്ന് സ്ത്രീകളും ആണുങ്ങളെക്കാൾ സാമർത്ഥ്യത്തിൽ ചിന്തിക്കാനും ആലോചിക്കാനും പ്രവർത്തിക്കാനും പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. So why the counter അടിച്ചമർത്തൽ, right? So that is not needed now anymore. So I feel it is time to talk about just, I think, collaborative growth together, and how to get ahead, how to get better. And we have so many other things to focus on as opposed to focusing on gender disparity. എന്നുള്ളതാണ് എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ ഒരു thought. There are too many other challenges that we are facing as a nation. This country's infrastructure needs to develop, and we need both men and women for that. അത് ഒരു ജെൻഡർ മാത്രം ആലോചിച്ചാൽ നടക്കില്ല. So നമ്മൾ educated sectorsലായതുകൊണ്ട് we can talk this way, but the challenges that people face in the lower sectors are much more dynamic and different from us. We're a very dynamic country.
So that is why we cannot enjoy the benefits as women the way women in Finland and all enjoy. Right? So we have a lot of other things that is actually causing, making all our small troubles appear more bigger.
Okay.
All
So
right.
that was the final question.
Yes,
And
thank you,
so
John.
we are going to conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mamta, for being there.
Thank you so much.
for
Thank you,
sparing-
Parvati. Thank you, all Rotarians.
Thank you, Mamta, for sparing your time and
Absolutely.
share
This
your
has been a
thoughts.
wonderful share. I loved listening to everybody speak. Fantastic energy. Thank you.
We wish you more and more laurels and achievements in the world of films.
Thank
Keep
you,
soaring,
Lata.
and thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been a beautiful evening, enriching, listening to these amazing women share their experiences. Now that brings us to the end of the seminar. I call upon Rotarian Sheila Devi, Revenue District Coordinator, for a formal expression of gratitude. Can't hear.
Okay. Okay. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
District Governor of Rotary International District 3211, Dr. Thomas Bhavani Kundel, Chief Guest of the Day, RI President Nominee Jennifer Jones, distinguished guests, Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the close of this prestigious district seminar, I am privileged to extend heartfelt thanks to all on behalf of RI District 3211 and the Women Empowerment Team. Our sincere thanks to DG Dr. Thomas Bhavani Kundel for his staunch support and guidance from conception to completion of this seminar. With immense pleasure, we extend our special gratitude to RI President Nominee Jennifer Jones, who has blessed us with her motivational and empowering speech. We are lucky to have the RI Director, Freud Lancia, with us. Our heartfelt thanks to him. Special thanks to Nari Shakti Puraskar awardee, Srimati Kartiyani Amma, for sharing her journey of the success. Thank you, Tiffany Brar, founder of Jyotirgamaya Foundation, for your wonderful interaction. Our profound gratitude to renowned film star Mamta Mohandas for her inspiring pursuit in overcoming challenges. We extend our heartfelt thanks to PDG PG Muralidharan, District Trainer, PDG John Daniel, Vice Chairman, Vice Governor and RRFC, PDG KP Ramachandran Nair, Chairman Council of Governors, and all other PDGs, Rotarian K. Srinivasan, District Governor-elect, Rotarian K. Babuman, District Governor nominee, then present, past and future governors from other districts, and all spouses for being with us today. We are very much grateful to First Lady of our district, Rotarian Dr. Omana Thomas. Dear Assistant Governors, please accept our gratitude for your assistance and cooperation. Rotarian Parvati Rekhunath, District Advisor Women Empowerment, Rotarian Dr. Tessie Kurian, District Chair, and Revenue District Coordinators also deserve appreciation for their untiring efforts for the smooth conduct of this district event. We thank Rotarians Nisha Jose, Albert Alex, Maya Suresh, Murugan Palayathil, Rotarian Parvati, and all others who coordinated, introduced, and interacted with our honorable speakers. Presidents, First Ladies, and spouses of all clubs, thank you very much for your follow-up. Rotarians, aunts, aunts, Rotaractors, members of Inner Wheel, and guests from District 3211 and other districts from India and abroad made this seminar a memorable one. Thank you, one and all. Our special gratitude goes to District IT Officer, Rotarian Jojo Alexander, IT Advisor, Rotarian Vijay Andrews, and our Master of Ceremony, Rotarian Leda Jose, for their excellent coordination, which has made this seminar flawless. We once again thank each and everyone behind the success of this seminar, Overcoming Challenges, Empowering Women. Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Sheila. And now for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
District Governor may adjourn the meeting.
District Seminar on Women Empowerment of District 3211 is adjourned hereby.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night and keep safe. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, one and all. Yes, thank you, Chairman, MC, and all the Revenue District Coordinators. Thank you very much for your active participation. I think everything went off reasonably well. Ale? Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for the untiring support